Okay, this is Frank P. Marone Jr. of Gettysburg Historic Walking Tours, and this video is going to be called Fire in the Dark. Before the evening of July 2nd, 1863, the 78th New York was taken from the left of General Greene's line and moved forward as skirmishers in this direction toward Rock Creek. The 60th New York filled the hole that was created by the 78th. When the rest of the 12th Corps was sent away to the other end of the line, the 102nd was extended to the right to fill the trench built by the 137th New York. The 137th New York shifted further to the right to fill the vacated trenches to their right. These movements made for a thin line along General Greene's front. As the 78th made their way toward Rock Creek, they passed by this very rock. They would go to the creek before being pushed back, and then this rock would be the focus of an attack by Confederate troops. And they would use this as shelter from the fire of the Union line behind our camera. Now again, when forced to fall back, the 78th passed by this rock back up the hill and into the trenches now being held by the 60th, 102nd, and 149th New York Volunteers. They regrouped behind the right of the 102nd New York, which they reinforced. At 3:30 in the morning on July 3rd, the 78th were ordered to the left and placed between the 60th and 102nd New York Volunteers. The 102nd New York shifted to the right to accommodate the 78th New York. Now, Confederate troops on the evening of July 2nd and into the very early morning hours of July 3rd, 1863, fell behind this rock, looking right where our camera is pointing and seeing in the distance there, if you'll look, you'll see the ridge line where the Union trenches are. And these trenches and Greene's earthworks, which we're looking at there at the top of the hill today, is where all these soldiers from New York under General Greene's brigade were. The fire happened in the middle of the night of July 2nd into the very early morning hours of the 3rd, back and forth with the Union and Confederate lines firing at one another in pitch darkness, the glow and fire shooting out of their rifles. This humongous boulder here was the only thing that some Confederate soldiers had shelter from the Union New York troops firing down the hill into them. It was later drawn and painted by an artist named Edwin Forbes, which shows Confederate troops behind and around this rock and also up in the trees of this area, acting as sharpshooters, firing into the heights above them. Out of all the spots on Culps Hill, this spot here was probably the fighting that was the most fierce of these New York troops under General Greene and Confederate troops under General Edward Allegheny Johnson. Today, when coming to visit the Gettysburg battlefield, many people do not even know that this boulder, which was once sketched by a famous artist and was fought for in the middle of the dark of July 2nd and July 3rd, 1863, is even here. Now, when visiting this area of the Gettysburg battlefield, keep in mind that during the summer out season, the woods is very thick. And of course, you have stickers and ticks and bugs and things like that. So it's actually best to come out here after the month of November and up to the month of March, when it is more bare and it can be seen. This is Frank from Gettysburg Historic.